Hi guys, Jordan from B&B Campers. Just going to do your handover video on your Geist Spirit 560. So it's a 56 plate, so it was one of the very last of this chassis. Stopped making them in 2007. So we've got on the left hand side here, we've got the engine battery with various sort of fuses and things attached to that, all related to the sort of split charging system on these motorhomes. Brake fluid reservoir up here, attached to the servo just behind it. You've got two places that you can fill the engine oil up from. You can either do it from this point just here, or on the top of the engine just there. Power steering fluid sits in this reservoir just here at the very front, and you can see perfect level just there on that. Fuses and relays underneath this little box just here. That's all just engine related, so you shouldn't need to get to those really. Engine coolant reservoir just there, and again the engine's cold at the moment, so you can see there at the absolute perfect level there for that. More fuses and relays inside this box here, and then your air filter, nice and easy to get to, just here on the right hand side next to your washer fluid. So that is about it for under the bonnet. You've got your chassis plate just here. There you go, that is it for under the bonnet. The diesel filling point is just in here on the near side of the cab. You will need the ignition key to get this open. Not much to show you inside the passenger door. Obviously I fit the swivel seat base there, so you can see that working. Yeah, as for the passenger side, not really much to see, to be honest. I've got a small storage locker underneath just there, which is like a wet locker, and then we got the toilet cassette locker just above that. So to take the cassette out, lift up on the little yellow tab just there, and then the whole thing will pull out towards you. You can then take the entire thing out, and all you need to know really is that you empty it out from here. So you take this screw cap off, and that's where you empty it from. And when you're physically emptying it out, you should be holding down the little yellow button just there at the back, because it's an air pressure release valve, and it will help you massively. And that is it. Push it all the way back away like that when you've finished with it, and there is your locker. So you've also then got your Truma boiler vent just there, and the freshwater inlet. So the freshwater inlet, push in and round to the left, will release it. To lock it back up again, push in and round to the right until it stops, and then grab your keys, and it'll be this key just here. Key in, twist it whichever way it will go, take the key out, and now you cannot take that off. Same for the toilet cassette locker, same key, put it in and twist, take the key out, and now you cannot push that button in, so you can't open it. This one just here, I have just replaced this because the other one was cracked. Unfortunately on these ones, the slightly older style, you could tap these little bits out just here and replace just the front bit, but you can't on these ones, so I have replaced it for this one. This is another second-hand one, but I didn't have a brand new one in there, so hopefully that will work out fine for you. If you get any problems with it, just let us know and we'll get you a new one ordered, but it was the best I could do for now, so there you go. The locker at the back just here is your LPG or your gas locker, basically. I'll just put the keys in my pocket. Should have a nice LPG sticker on the front of it, basically to let the fire brigade know, or anyone that needs to know, where the gas locker is. So you've got space in here for two of these 6 kilo propane bottles. Metal lined locker, nice and sort of, sealed up from the inside of the vehicle basically, and you've got your dropout holes in there. The dropouts over there, so it's not really a big problem this being here, but it shouldn't really be in here. It should only really be bottles, but this is your jack and wheel brace in here. So you go anti-clockwise around to the left on the top of the bottle to turn it on, and clockwise around to the right to turn it off. I'm going to leave it on for the moment. You do need to turn these bottles off before you start driving. That is absolutely essential. The last thing you want in the event of a crash or something is this sort of pressure of gas coming out, whether it be from the regulator or anything inside. If you isolate it from the bottle just here before you start driving, you don't have to worry about that at all. These bits just here on the regulator are all just for our testing purposes, so you don't need to worry about any of that. All you need to know is that you undo it from here to take it off from this bottle and just tie it on from there onto the next. So I'll leave that on for now because I've got a few bits on at the moment inside. At the back you've got your ladder to get onto the roof and your bike rack as well, with the correct parts on it. It's a Pro C bike rack. It does tell you there the maximum weight that it reckons you can have on it. So we did sell this van previously, which is why it's got our old P&P stickers on it. So yeah, I think that's about it for the back really. All the windows that are in really nice condition, nice and shiny, no sort of cracks or damage to anything really. So yeah, on this off side we've just basically got storage lockers on this side here. This is a vent to get to the back of the cooker. You don't actually need vents to the back of the cookers, but I'm assuming they've just put that there for ease of access if you ever needed to get to the back of it for any reason. These two vents just here are for your fridge. Now obviously you've got the brand new fridge in this one as requested. So yeah, they're the original fridge vents. They don't come with new fridge vents, but the actual flue there for the exhaust, you can see nice, exactly where it needs to be. So yeah, I'll show you that working when we get inside. If you wanted to double check that the gas was definitely lit and working on the fridge, you can put your hand over this top right hand side and you will feel a small amount of warm air coming out through this, just to prove to you that it's working. The electric step comes out from this little switch just here. Nice and easy. And then I will show you around the cab. So as I said, new swivel seat base. I will get rid of these metal shavings, but the new swivel seat base is on. It was a little bit of a pig to fit, I must admit, mainly due to the fact that you have to sort of shave certain bits of it off in order to fit it. Why they don't just sell one that fits this one specifically so you don't have to do that, I don't know, but there you go, that's what had to happen. So now the only thing I will say is, you can see that I'm doing this one hand, it's not stiff, but the only thing that is a little bit stiff now is moving the seat backwards and forwards. So from the actual original handle, I mean, again, you can see I'm doing it with one hand, but it's just a little bit more stiff than it was before. So again, fingers crossed you can, you know, handle that okay, but it's just a little bit more stiff there. I'm not exactly sure why, because it didn't seem to make any difference to where, I mean, obviously the seat's slightly higher now by about 1.5 inches, but I couldn't really work out why it seemed a little bit stiffer. Perhaps just because it's a little bit heavier now, I don't know. But again, you shouldn't really even notice it. But if you do struggle with that, you know, I could probably do something with it, but I couldn't work out what when I was fitting it. But yeah, again, see how you go with it. There's plenty of adjustments on these seats here. So I think this is a lumbar support here, and obviously you can adjust where the ride height of the back of the seat is. You can adjust how high or low the seat is as well. So by lifting this, it releases the front, and this one, if you sat on it, there you go. So that one there releases the back, so you can have the seat way up if you want to. But to put those back down again, you sit on the seat, pull those handles, and then it will drop back down. And there you go. So the bonnet release, just move that back a smidgen more. The bonnet release is just there on the driver's side. On the left hand side, just basically above the clutch pedal, and then the steering column adjustment is on the right, just there above the brake pedal. You've then got your single DIN head unit, 5-speed manual gearbox, and all of your heated controls just there, along with the hazard warning lights just there. Your headlight adjustments are from this little bit just here. Only really relevant if you're towing something, to be honest, so you should be okay. And your electric adjusting mirrors. So you basically select which mirror you want to move. So if we're looking at the mirror there, if I wanted to adjust this bottom one here, I would need to go all the way down to the bottom right and then just move this around like a little joystick, and that will move the mirror to wherever you want it or need it to be. So I think that's about it for the cab. So I'll jump on the inside now and we'll show you in here. So Now, please bear in mind, we haven't actually had a chance to clean it just yet. Hab check's all done, everything's done, but apart from cleaning. So please bear that in mind on the video. So on the control panel up here, and also I will just point out my hands are not actually as dirty as they look on the video. I have said that a few times on the videos now, but I don't know why it comes up like this. But anyway, so on the control panel here, you've got the main on and off switch here on the right hand side. So that's the one that says 12 volt with an open circuit and a closed circuit. So to actually get the 12 volt to come on, so anything battery powered basically, you press up on this one and that will allow all the 12 volt power to work. So you go around, and now after you've turned that one on, all of your lights will work. Anything that works from the 12 volt basically should work. I'm just going to open that because it's quite warm. You've then got next to that a little light. Basically, this isn't a button, it's just a light. And so anytime that your hookup cable is plugged in, that little orange light or yellow light there will light up, telling you that it's working. You've then also got the water pump switch. So again, you've just got a rocker switch with an open circuit and an open circuit at the top and a closed circuit at the top. So if you want the water pump to work and you want to draw water through to the tap, you need to be on the up part of this little switch just here. And then as you'll see, you will then have water pressure at your tap. So that's really, really simple on that right hand side. The part up just up here that says Strom on it, so that's basically I'm not sure what that exactly translates to because it's in German, but that basically means how many amps are being drawn at any time. So if there's a real drain of power, then it'll be on the left hand side in the red, and if you've got sort of a solar panel or something chucking power into it, then you'll go up into the green. On the left hand side, you basically just got your level indicators on this side really. So the little light in the middle just here, the red light here, will come on if your leisure battery voltage is getting sort of dangerously low. So the reason it's not on at the moment is because it's a good charge and there's not any problems with it. So that should only really happen if you're sort of using things constantly without a hookup plugged in, that sort of thing. But there you go. So to the right of that, we've got your fresh and waste water levels, which actually, thinking about it now, I will have to show you the drains on the outside before the end of the video. I've forgotten that. So if you press up on this one and look at the bottom scale here where it says tank, we've got about a quarter of a tank of fresh water and about a quarter of a tank of wastewater. So that's our water levels. And then on the left hand side here, we've got push up and then look at the top scale for the engine battery voltage, 12.5 volts, perfect. And then push down and look at the top scale to see the leisure battery voltage. Same again, 12.5. So 12.5 volts is a very good resting battery rate. If I had the hookup cable plugged into the van right now, or the engine was running, both of those batteries would be way up towards 14. All the time that there's nothing, you know, charging these batteries up, 12.5 volts is absolutely fine. And in fact, this scale here is only really relevant for a battery that's not being charged up. So as soon as you get down towards 10, you know, you need a good charge up. So that is the control panel, nice and easy. So all the cupboards open up really nicely. They all hold up really well, not sort of sagging or anything like that. And these lower cupboards come open just by pushing on them. Over the cab, you have got a nice big window and skylight up there. The ladder comes down and should attach. There you go, so that's the right height there. Just notice it's actually a Hymer ladder. Not sure why that would be. Maybe it's part of the same group. So yeah, you've got nice lights up there, lots of natural light up there as well. Now you can, so you can, if you want to, lift this bed up, but I think, just looking at it, we might have these gas struts here actually. It looks like it's probably going to need a couple of struts because it won't stay up. I can imagine that whoever's had this vehicle before, you know, I can imagine it's never been used for going up. And to be completely honest, I'm not sure why it would. There's not, you know, it's not blocking any space there. But yeah, I'll have a little look into that. Just realised that now on the video, to be honest, about the struts there. So I will look into that for you. You have also got, just so you know, these little screens that attach up to these clips up here, and that's just basically to stop you falling out of bed at night, which would be a fair fall, so it's probably worth doing, especially for kids. Right, so these two hatches in the floor, get that open. So you've got this one here, which is your fresh tank, and I know it's a fresh tank because we've got water, an overflow and a point where the actual pump is going into the tank, so this is definitely the fresh tank. So if I'm not mistaken, you've probably got a drain in there somewhere, if I can find it. Perhaps not. So there's probably a drain on the outside, I'll find it anyway. But this is your fresh tank, so if you ever wanted to get to that to clean it or whatever, that is where you go to get to that. And then the next one along is access to the, what is that? Access to the heater, is it? Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. So again, you shouldn't really ever need to get into those for any specific reason, but just there if you need to. Right, so you have got a 3-burner hob, so each of those lighting up with an igniter or a clicker of some description, because there isn't an ignition on those specifically. Obviously we've got the little valves to turn them on and off, but you would need a lighter to do those. I will run you through the fridge in just a sec, but we've got the spin flow cooker and grill. So you've got a piezo ignition on this. Sounds a little bit like that. So to get that to light up, you basically push in and around to the right for the grill, or in and around to the left for the oven, whilst clicking on this piezo igniter, and that will light up whichever one you want to light up. And then we've got your nice new fridge. So the fridge itself is very, very simple. It's just sometimes it can take a little minute to sort of get your head around. So these newer ones are even more simple than the older ones, to be honest. So essentially all you have is you've got a main on and off switch here. So I'll turn this off for now. All the time there's a little blue light in this little symbol here, it means that your fridge is actually working and on one of the 3 ways. So if I turn it back on again now, it'll automatically choose one of the 3 functions, and it's chosen gas straight away. Now the reason it's chosen gas straight away is because, one, I had it on gas just then, just before I turned it off, but also because I haven't got the hookup plugged in and the engine's not running. So it's actually the only way this fridge will work regardless. Okay, so if you want to change that, if you want to change the functionality that it's working on, press on this little button just here and it'll come up telling you what's going on. So we're on gas and we're at full power. If I then press and hold on this button here, the gas symbol will start flashing, and then I can go through and select one of the other ways. Okay, so A just stands for automatic, and I'll run you through that in a minute, but it's these 3 here that we're actually interested in. So this one just here is your electric hookup. So if you had the hookup plugged in, I would advise you just click on that. Click it again, and if you had the hookup plugged in, it would just stay illuminated and start cooling down. But because we haven't got the hookup plugged in, it's given me a fault code up here, and that's why it's not working. So for the time being, I can't use it on that one. Same goes for if you had the engine running, you need to select this one here, which is the little battery symbol. Click it again. Same again, we've got a fault code coming straight up because the engine isn't running, so this won't work. So, as I said, the only way I can use this fridge right now is on the gas. So that'll just do its thing, it will light up literally straight away, and that's it. That's lit, and after a couple of hours that'll be cold. So that's the way you have to use it, that's the way it works. If I just quickly explain, so for example, if you were going to go on holiday tomorrow, I would recommend either leaving the van hooked up on the mains and leaving the fridge on the mains one just there overnight so that it cools down, and then by the morning all you have to do is switch over to 12 volt when you're driving. Or the night before you go away, same again, use the gas if you don't want to have the hookup plugged in overnight, and then again just switch over to 12 volt when you're driving. When you get to where you're going, switch back to one of the other two, either mains or the gas, and that's it, just leave it. The other option on this particular one, they don't all have this, but you can also go on the one that says A on it, which I said is automatic. Now when I click on this one, it will also come up with a light for the gas. So if you watch, there you go. So the reason it's done that is that what it's saying now is it's on automatic mode, so it will choose the energy for you, but it's chosen gas because, like I said, that's the only way this fridge will actually work at the moment. So essentially what it's done is it's worked out that we haven't got the engine running, we haven't got hookup plugged in, but we do have the gas switched on. It's done that itself, and it's chosen gas. So if you don't want to do it yourself manually, you can just leave it on A, but in my experience, every once in a while it will make a little bit of a mistake and try and choose one that it can't use. So sometimes you have to just do it manually anyway, but the option's there if you want to use it like that. Press and hold. There we go. Nice freezer compartment in there. So there you go. So we can fit a new fridge to pretty much anything. They're not cheap to have done, but there you go. So as I was saying before, once you've turned this little switch here on to the upright position where it is now, you will then get water coming through at the tap. Now it's really important to point out that if you want to heat the water up and you want to get hot water at the tap, you do have to do this one thing first, which is basically turn the switch on, come over to the tap here, pull the cold water through, and just make sure you got a little bit of pressure there, which we do, and then lift it all the way up to the top to make sure that we've got pressure at the hot side as well, which, as you can see, we've got pressure in both. So once I've done that, or now that I've done that, I can basically, that's just proven to me that the boiler has actually got water inside of it. If the boiler had no water inside of it, absolutely nothing would have come through when I lifted that up to hot just then. And the reason for that is basically the way it works. You've essentially got your freshwater tank just here and the pump that sits inside of it. When I pull the tap just there on the cold side, all it's doing is drawing water through the pump from the tank straight there. And that same goes for the bathroom one as well, and the toilet in fact as well. So that's really simple. That's just literally tank straight to the tap. Whereas on the hot side of it, when I pull the hot water through, it comes from the tank through the boiler and then to the tap. So if there's no water in the boiler, it has to fill it up first before it will send water over to the taps. So that's the only way of actually proving to yourself that the boiler is actually full. So the reason I'm saying that is that if the boiler isn't full of water, you shouldn't be trying to light it up on the gas, because really, you know, pretty much immediately you're going to start running into issues like overheating and stuff like that. So just really important to make sure that you've actually got water in it before you start trying to light it up. The only reason you would ever not have water in it as well, if I just point that out as well, is that you've got these two little drains in here. So somebody has put a little sticker on it at some point by the looks of it, but you don't need that, we can explain it. And actually it does say it on the top as well, so I don't know why they put a sticker on it, but anyway. So what you've essentially got is this one just here and the little, let me lift this out of the way. So you've got the red one just at the back here, which is basically a pipe drain off. So these two bits just here are essentially your winter drain off points. So if you wanted to drain this boiler out of all of its water so that it didn't freeze inside of it, which is really important, if this boiler is full of water like it is now, and for example, no, it's not going to obviously, but if it froze tonight, you know, if it got down to sort of 0 degrees tonight and the water inside this boiler froze as well, every single one of the, I mean, I know these are soft pipes, so they'd be okay, but every single little bit inside this boiler that had water, you know, pressurized water in it, all the pipes around the whole vehicle would freeze up, and obviously when water freezes it expands, and then you end up with issues like cracked pipes, broken boiler, all that sort of stuff. So it's just so important that you drain this boiler out and all the pipes out before it gets to that stage where it's that cold. So to do that, all you have to do is, for this one at the back, I'll my head around, all you have to do is lift it up like that, and that will just start draining all the water from the pipes out onto the floor. So that's how you use that one. Leave it down to allow the water to fill back up, basically. And this one is even easier. All you have to do to drain it out is push it down. All right. So pushing that one there down drains out all the water from the boiler. Lifting that one there up drains all the water out from the pipes. And that's it. You do need to make sure, I will just point out as well, if you ever take the 12-volt power away from this, so for example, if you undo, you know, if your leisure battery goes flat, or if you undo the leisure battery for any reason, this drain here will drop out. It's an electronic automatic dropout valve. So anytime that you take the 12-volt power away from this by undoing the leisure battery, it will drain out. So just bear that in mind. So when you put the leisure battery back on or whatever, make sure you lift this back up, because it will have dropped out. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So that's the boiler locker. The wardrobe above that, quite important in the fact that you've got the TV aerial just here. So you just basically undo it from the top here, and then you can push it up and twist it around as and where you need to. So that is what you'd call a tilt and turn TV aerial. That's what that is. And your TV aerial booster, which turns on with this little switch here on the right. You've then got the 240 volt trip switches just there. And as I said, the electric hookup point on the outside, I have just replaced it. And it's not a new one, like I said, but you know, it should get you by. And if you get any issues with it, just let us know. Not that I think you should, but if you do, you know where we are. So this bit just here is for your boiler itself. So this is how you actually use the boiler. Now it's gas only, and that's typical of these sort of like continental Italian, German vehicles. So if you want to use heating only, you go down once, and that'll basically just start heating it up via the blown air heating. If you want heating and hot water, you go all the way down to the bottom, and that would immediately start heating up the water inside of it and pumping out the blown air heating. Back to the middle turns that completely off. Going up 1 or up 2 gives you hot water only at either 40 or 60 degrees. And that is it. That really is as easy as that. That's your heating and hot water. Right, so absolutely tons of storage. Under each of these seats just here is loads of storage. You've got your 2 forward facing proper over the shoulder seat belts. These are getting few and far between now as well, these skylights, so please be careful with them. When I say be careful with them, all I really mean is don't drive down the road with the bloody things up in the air, because it will fly off or it will break. So please just make sure that you've got this wound all the way down before you drive away. Yeah, just lots and lots of really nice storage around the tops here, under the seats. As you know from the show, this table does drop down to make up the bed. Once the table's down in its drop position, you just basically pull all these cushions into the middle and it makes up a huge double bed at the back. If you don't want to use that double bed at the back, you can obviously use the overcab bed as well, which is absolutely huge. I think the last bit to show you now is the bathroom, really. So, as discussed, I have repaired this sink. Now I've used what they call plastic coat to repair it. So in theory, this should never ever crack or, you know, be affected by water. Now I must admit, I've not actually used it before. I've not repaired anything with it before. So this is a bit of a test for me, I must admit, but it's worked so much better. When I repaired this, it worked so much better than anything else I've ever used. So I've got, you know, all my confidence in it. But you've got a new drain hole in the middle there. And I will just mention as well, the only reason we didn't get a new one is because we can't find one. We can't get hold of it. So fingers crossed you're happy with it. I did try my best on it. So there you go. Right, so yeah, all there is to show you really in here is the fact that you've got the the toilet over here on the left. So if you haven't used one of these before, really simple. All you've got really is the button just here, pumps the flush fluid around the bolt, and pulling on this drains it into the cassette. And that really is it. That is all there is to it. So, I think that's about all I need to show you. If there's anything you think I've missed out, just let us know. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.